They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Air, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello and welcome to Dead Air, a horror podcast. This is episode 0, so we are going to use this time to introduce ourselves, the concept of the show. To start off, I'm Chris Costello. I am a horror fanatic. I love horror. I breathe horror. I watch it every night when everyone else in the house is asleep. And today I'm joined by my co-hosts and our producer. Guys, introduce yourselves.
Sure. I'm Aryn. I actually do improv comedy. So my taste in horror is more, I would say, mainstream than these folks. I watch movies not from the eyes of a film student. I watch it just to enjoy it and take it in as it is presented. My experience with horror is I really just like the scary stuff. If it scares me, I find it to be very effective. So I am the medium. I do get scared. Like, I do have dreams. I have bangungot. I have, when my imagination goes wild, I imagine things and I get really scared. But I still enjoy watching horror movies nonetheless.
I'm Miguel. I am a photographer and I'm a big fan of movies. But I'm also the resident scaredy-cat. I don't hate, but I super dislike watching horror movies. So... So I'm the voice of the guy who's reluctantly here because, we have to watch this horror movie. All right, cool. But also, to be fair, in the past few years, I've kind of learned to appreciate horror also. It's more than just scaring the shit out of you now. So it's been pretty good.
I am Maui Mauricio. I'm the producer of the show. I am also I'm the owner of Playground Inc., the platform that is recording this show and producing it as well. I am the median when it comes to liking or disliking horror. I will watch horror, but it's not my go-to genre. But once you get me started on something that's really good, regardless of whether it's scary or not, I can't.
Agree. Si Chris lang naman yung hardcore.
Si Chris lang naman talaga yung hardcore.
Horror. Wild.
When Chris asked me to join the group, I thought we were all kind of just like, are you a fan of horror? Yeah, I'm a fan of horror. Biglang Chris is just like, whoa, dude. Is that all you watch? Is that the only thing you know? Holy moly.
Pretty much. So that brings me to the title of our podcast. It's called Dead Air, a horror podcast. And the thesis of the podcast is that it's what we want it to be is it's a show that's for horror connoisseurs and scaredy-cats alike. So the whole point is we talk about horror films as a bunch of friends, and we don't try to over intellectualize things. But as you can see, the 3 hosts that you have, it's kind of like a gradient of how people appreciate horror. I love it, and Miguel is at the opposite spectrum. He is he's not the biggest fan in the world, but I am going to use the next few episodes as a way to convince him that this will be his favorite genre soon. And all right. Aryn is stuck in the middle.
I am stuck in the middle. I am. Happily so, though. I don't want to be in Miguel's place. I do have friends who are afraid of horror, and I think one of them stopped talking to me for a good week after I scared her. I wore a robe, put my hair in my face, and she slept in my house. Then I started crawling on the bed. She didn't talk to me for a while.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
I was high school.
I would unfriend you. Okay, so also to contextualize everything, this is our first podcast. We're starting this because no one else in the world has a podcast. We are we're pioneers. That's not a big thing.
In this pandemic, no one's ever thought of putting up a podcast.
Nope. No one. So this is a groundbreaking show. No one's ever done anything like it. No, but really, myself and Miguel, this is definitely our first. It might be our last foray into podcasting.
Complete noobs.
This
mic is brand new.
Exactly, that is brand new. I don't even have a mic. but we are
This
joined
isn't
by,
my first. Yeah.
As
This
you
isn't
can
my
see.
first. As you can see by the fact that I have a microphone
Legit.
and that I have a ring light and my earphones are connected to the
I
microphone.
bought a ring light too. You can see it in my glasses.
Oh, that's right. That's right. See, I am an expert podcaster. I am the best podcaster in the world. I've been doing it for so long that I've been doing it since Jan 2020. Wasn't that so long ago?
Yeah.
That was so long ago.
That
Taal
feels-
happened
That
so
feels
long
like
ago.
10
It's
years
pre-lockdown,
ago.
so
Yeah.
it feels like forever ago.
Yes. But my podcast it's different. It's comedy. It's like completely different. Horror comedy.
And we're,
Tell us about
we're
your
dead
podcast,
serious
Aryn.
about everything.
Yeah, dead serious. Oh, my podcast is called Tawalets, and I interview comedy writers, performers, if people have anything to do with comedy, I want them on the show, and I want to experience comedy through their eyes. So I ask them if they know about local comedy. If they don't, who are the comedians that they look up to? And then sometimes it just gets weird, depending on how close I am to the person. It can really deviate from the topic. But yeah.
So
that's what I
actually,
do.
that's something that we're gonna have to learn from you. No, like
Okay.
we're gonna have some really weird. Not weird guests. But I mean, like really different guests in the way that some will be very talkative, some won't be talkative at all. So maybe we can. That's something that you can bring to the table and kind of just take us through. You know, like what to expect.
Right. Cool. Then I am on board 100%.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
Yeah, because since Chris and I are new to this, there'll be a lot of dead air.
Which is the
And this-
podcast.
And this is where you put in a zinger, Maui.
Okay, noting. Okay.
Pow, pow, pow.
Ang galing naman to create like a...
Sobrang pilit, and that's why it's called dead air.
Pow, pow, pow.
Oh God. I do have a
Okay, Maui,
soundboard somewhere. I could use it like while
we'll
we're
fix that.
recording.
We'll fix that.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not
now
the kind
we can
of show
talk
I
about
wanted
the
to make, but
con.
whatever.
Wow.
But you're stuck with us. I'm sorry.
Soundboard.
Too bad.
Chipmunk laugh.
Well,
Hey, we went biking na. That means you're stuck with us.
Yeah.
and Maui's talking about, I don't use soundboards. We've actually recorded 2 episodes before this episode.
Yeah.
And in one episode, while our guest was talking about her ghost experience, Maui just suddenly presses this really eerie sound. Kapal ayaw mag-soundboard. Pow, pow, pow.
Na sobrang natakot ako By the way.
For real, it really creeped me out.
Ako ba yun?
I mean, there's a difference naman with meme sounds and, ambient, creepy
Ambient.
music. Diba?
Ambient,
Fine.
For
fine.
mood.
Yeah.
Let me load it nga again. I'll surprise you again later.
Wag
Or
na.
not.
Tsaka medyo annoying na we record at night all the time. Nakakatakot talaga.
And that sound will come out.
Randomly.
And like, as you can see, it's kind of dark pa at my place. Like,
Yeah.
feeling ko sa likod may
Actually,
dala.
Yeah. At least you're not alone.
nga yung quiet, diba?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
when
why.
our producer mutes us
That's
out
actually
of the
why.
blue. So the concept of the show is we have basically a guest per episode, and this guest can be a huge fan of horror or not. It doesn't matter. But the guest chooses one horror movie for us to just talk about. And I mean, talk about in the sense that we just kind of geek out about it. Just tell each other what we liked, what we didn't like, what worked, what didn't. Talk about the fact about why the guest chose that particular film, why it's important. And that's basically it. I think in a nutshell, that show is kind of what we're going for. To be honest with you, this is kind of patterned after the podcast Kingcast, where 2 friends talk about Stephen King adaptations. And it's just that format. Each episode is one guest from a creative field. And they select one adaptation they want to talk about. And that's all they talk about in the episode. And so that's kind of what we're trying to replicate here is we get people from different creative fields, because we want to hear from creators, from musicians, from writers, from film directors, from actors. They can be related to horror in some way. They can. Maybe they're just a fan of the genre or whatever, or they just have a perfect movie that they want to talk about. And so that's the kind of guest that we want to have on the show and who we want to interact with to shoot the shit, basically.
I think that each and every one of us already has a different preference. And hearing what the guest says is also going to bring all of that out. Like what you thought of the movie, what I thought of the movie, how it affected you and stuff like that. So it's going to be fun.
So far, so I guess we're saying that we've already pre-recorded 2 podcasts, right? Sobrang interesting din yung range ng dalawang choices na yun eh. Like one was a more of a classical, suspenseful horror film na set in a contemporary time. One was another kind of genre altogether, diba? That was very interesting, that range. So I'm hoping we get more of that range also from our guests.
That's why the first 2 guests that we have is a perfect example of what I'm hoping this podcast becomes. You know, is I don't want it to be just one thing where we just talk about classic horror or we just talk about contemporary.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun when they choose like really, really different kinds of movies. Like for you, Miguel, like as a non-horror fan, how did you enjoy your first two films that we discussed?
Well, yung first movie I had to watch during the day and with multiple breaks. So, you know, I had to pace myself lang, make sure it was daytime. But like, you know, like I think with a lot of horror films now, especially that particular one, which was kind of like marked the turning point of horror films from, you know, like when it was full of jump scares to when it became more cerebral or ibang klase. Parang interesting yon. Like as soon as you figured it out, it wasn't as like, you know, it wasn't like as jump out scary, but it still had that very weird, horrifying, dreadful element of it that makes horror films. The next one was iba naman treatment altogether. I don't want to spoil it, but it was a very different, it's like a left turn and was still very interesting.
What I liked about that is that they gave 2 completely different movies also because they had different definitions of what the horror genre is.
Oh, yeah,
totally,
absolutely. Yeah. Perfect, yeah.
I like that a lot because each of us already think, okay, this is horror, pero for other people pala, it's
Hindi
different.
Yeah,
Hindi pa horror. So it's interesting to hear those points of view.
Hindi, like, ganda nga, like, I don't know if we'll even air the first interview as the first one. Pero ganda kasi we go into the definition of horror and that guest had a particular definition of horror. And parang whenever we have a guest now, I'll think, oh, that person kind of falls into that, you know, his definition matches. But ato malayo, parang yan. Interesting yun.
What are your expectations, guys, as the podcast goes on? Will the format remain the same? Are we gonna try to get a certain kind of guest or anything? What do you guys want to do? Because I want this to be fun for everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that there's 3 of us. Parang I think one way or another, our individual takes will kind of come out also during each podcast or during each interview. But I think depending on the guest also and how we interact with them, but I think each of us will get our little chance to bring something to the table, which is what I'm looking forward to also. I don't know what I'm going to bring to the table. I don't know. Macaroni and cheese. I don't know. Potluck pala.
I'm actually hoping that the guests choose movies that me and Chris actually find scary. Because I'm sure Miguel hasn't seen any of those.
Yeah.
I really want a guest to choose movies na talagang the ones that have high ratings.
I know the exact movie that Aryn is talking about.
What is it?
Several. I have several.
It's called Unfriended and it looks exactly like this Zoom
exactly
screen
like
right
this.
now.
Baka naman mamaya hindi na bumalik si Miguel, ha?
Oo nga eh. Or parang yung nasa rider ko na daytime recording lang tayo, guys. Ha?
Nasa
May rider ako.
In regards to the format, though, what I'm hoping or rather expecting is that the format won't stay the same. I mean, like horror, when you talk about horror is such a broad topic. We can talk about like the best of, the worst of, what like specific themes, like a movie may require.
I think we can definitely have like special episodes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
kind of changes up the thing.
So apparently the more flexible we are in terms of how we approach horror film, the better. We don't need to always talk to just one guest. Maybe we can have 2 or 3. Maybe we could do like a more in-depth analysis or a less in-depth analysis, you know.
Okay, so one of the questions we always ask guests is what is your horror origin? Basically, what that means is, how did you first get into it? Was it a particular movie? Was it a book cover? Whatever it was, So far, I've had a lot of fun listening to people answer that question. So in this case, I'm gonna tell you guys mine. My horror origin was it was really traumatic, and I mean seriously traumatic, because I grew up in Cagayan de Oro. We had double features. There was a huge thing in Cagayan, was we'd go to the cinemas and it would be a double feature. So we would do that as a family. We'd take Sunday night off or Saturday, whatever, and we watched 2 movies in a row. And one time, my parents brought me and my younger sister to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because it was number one, that's because it was a cartoon supposedly, but to be honest with you, that movie is not appropriate for children just because it has animated characters in it. And it was so, I don't really remember much from it. I didn't really like it that much. But the movie right after it was Aliens, the sequel.
How old were you? Sorry?
Okay,
The sequel. So this is Aliens. I was probably about 7 or 8 or something like that.
Okay.
So really, and my younger sister was with me, so she's 2 years younger. And I know for a fact that this event really traumatized her for life. She always talks about it, about how Aliens in the movie theater traumatized her. And so I can really trace back my horror roots to that night. Seeing Aliens on the big screen when I was 6 or 7. I don't even remember how old I was.
Aliens was shot as sorry, I haven't seen it, but Aliens was shot as a horror film. Yeah, I know. There are really big gaps. There are big gaps in a lot of my pop culture knowledge. I went to
We're gonna solve that.
yeah, I went to Xavier, so maraming butas talaga yan. So
Well, that's the funny thing about horror is like I said, one of our guests says that he doesn't consider Aliens as a horror film.
sci-fi sa kanya.
It's sci-fi for him, but it's really it lies in the genre. There's the genre overlaps with a lot of different stuff.
I get it.
Aliens is actually shot like an action film, but it's a horrifying action
all right,
film.
got it.
It's fantastic. It's actually I really love the whole franchise because each movie is made so differently.
Yeah.
And
the
very
first
good
movie
directors.
Exactly. And then made when they were really, really young too, when they were starting out. So it's a very dear franchise to me. Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I can trace back my my love for horror is probably when Aliens fucked me up as a kid.
With your parents pa, with consent pa.
I don't know what they were thinking, honestly.
Baka,
they were covering our eyes. You know?
Baka they espouse free range parenting. Bala.
But I never found the concept of aliens scary. I saw
Wow.
aliens.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole concept of aliens in general, it doesn't freak me out because parang the ones that freak me out are the ones that I can imagine actually happening to me. I can't imagine seeing an alien or, having the baby alien like what she had.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
It's unrelatable.
Yung mga exorcism horror movies, Aryn, yan yung mga... Does that
I
freak you
don't
out?
get scared of that.
What the hell?
Weird, no? It doesn't freak me out. Like,
those freak me out.
Like, if it happens to me, parang okay lang. No naman, but like, parang... Kasi nandyan na eh. I don't know. It's a weird way of thinking.
Interesting how you process this, yeah.
Diba?
How about slasher films?
Saan ka matatakot?
Yes. It scares me, but parang with that one, you can put up a fight. So the ones that scare me are, for example, ghosts.
Sure.
Sad ako. You can't escape The Grudge, the kid in The Grudge under your blanket, the hand in the shower, stuff like that. That freaks me out.
So,
Look at that.
So Asian horror.
Asian horror.
Yeah.
Even what Chris said earlier, Unfriended. That scared me so much because it is your screen. It is your Facebook page. It is the messenger. It's just like, it's so
in the realm of
real.
possibility. Yeah.
Paranormal Activity freaked me out. Because parang, it's real.
Yeah.
Documentary, it's real. So, stuff like that freaks me out. The first horror movie I remember seeing was in my tita's friend's house. So my tita had this friend who invited us to his house in Moonwalk near Merville, which is already kind of scary. And then kind of scary in that area. And then we watched It. And it was the first It. And they thought it was okay because it's they're kids in this movie. What you have to watch this, they're kids. And it is a coming of age film, kind of. Diba? It's
absolutely.
It's kids. But clowns are real. So that freaked me out. Like I see these people in birthday parties and then, he's killing people. What's going on? So that really freaked me out. But I remember enjoying being freaked out.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this before, and I would make the paper boats even if I knew that Pennywise could get me. I'd really put it on the canal, chase it, in the street.
Ang tapang pala nito.
Yeah, as a kid, kapal na mukha, diba?
Thrill seeker at an early age.
Yes. And then I really enjoyed because my tita, the one who had the friend, was a fan of Stephen King. So in the house, she'd have all the books from Christine to Carrie,
Nice.
Cujo. So I knew all the Stephen King stories. And then R.L. Stein came, which was more age appropriate. So I'd read all those books.
Yeah.
And I've liked horror ever since. But it really has to scare me for me to enjoy it. If it's lukewarm scaring.
How about you, Miguel?
That's
So my horror origin would be summer spent at my cousin's place in QC. Sorry, hold on. And we'd watch Betamax. We'd rent out tapes. And we watch Child's Play with Chucky
Yeah.
Yun yung ano ko. And the first one that's really seared in my memory.
Aaron's just laughing at you.
Yeah. Shut up. And Pet Cemetery. Literally Child's Play.
Pet Cemetery.
For me.
Yeah,
Pet Cemetery like really freaked me out. And I remember watching it during Holy Week. And there were like many layers of like our uncle getting mad at us for watching a horror film when the day Jesus died. And then us watching it illegal. Like, right, we're like watching it in the sly. And that's a movie like, as a kid, like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. It was really scary. It really freaked me out. So yeah, Pet Cemetery. So Stephen King then.
That's funny. Yeah. All three of us have a Stephen King connection.
I know. Which one's your...
Stephen King really nurtured my whole love for horror. Like I've read literally, I think every single thing he's written.
You read The Talisman. That's not quite scary, but
it's fun. It's a fantastic book, though. It's a
I like it, but it was like this.
Yeah, there's a sequel to that book actually. That's pretty good too. Same universe called The Black House. It's very nice. If you like Talisman, you like that one. So yeah, Stephen King is a really, really big part of my upbringing. Not just my love for horror, but like, I mean, he got me into books really. I mean, I was a voracious reader naman, even from a young age. But when I discovered Stephen King, oh my God, I would not sleep. I would not eat. I wouldn't do anything. Every single Stephen King book I found, I would read.
There's something about him, no? To be able to think about stuff like that and he kind of looks creepy too. Parang just like the embodiment of horror.
Yeah. And but I think his prose is so easy to... Yeah, it's very accessible because the way he writes.
Exactly. It's so easy to read. It's very...
Yeah, and then he lulls you through like this little world of like fucked upness. Like,
do you guys read a lot of horror books until now? Or was it just Stephen King?
I do.
Yeah, Chris.
Of course I do.
But what was your first Stephen King book, Chris?
Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Wow.
Yeah, the vampire one.
Yeah.
I don't read horror.
No, because it's slow burn pa. It's actually scarier.
Yeah.
Because you can't finish it right away.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're hanging on, then you're like, I'm sleepy na.
But if I turn off the lights, parang what will happen? Diba? Like, Look, I'm the guy. Sorry, just to give emphasis to how scared of a person I am. Like, just like 2 weeks ago, I was kind of freaking out in this house because there was a rustling sound. I live alone, and there was this rustling sound following me around. Like I thought I'd hear it in the bedroom. I'd step out to the living room, and it's still like, oh my God, this rustling sound is following me, literally. Yeah. It was just like I had a matchbox in my pocket. Like I lit a candle, I forgot that I put the matchbox in my like, what the hell is this sound?
Sound.
So good. Classic Miguel.
Tsaka favorite ko yung when I read the Wikipedia entry of The Witch at midnight. And so around and freak out. Like I locked my doors, turned on the lights. I texted people to read it also. the worst. Nandamay pa ako. Anyway.
But I've scared myself before just with the way I look. Because after watching The Ring, my hair was long back then.
Shut up.
I watched The Ring, right? And I was brushing my hair in the mirror. And I freaked myself out. Like, I scared.
You brush it down
No,
like that.
ganito lang. But diba there's a scene in The Ring of
yun,
some girl just
nakaside.
brushing her hair.
Yeah.
So I was brushing my hair. I couldn't look at myself. I scared myself. Because I'm like, shit, I look Asian.
I look at it.
I don't want to look at myself.
Oh my God, we're so stupid sometimes. It's
I
cool.
know. The Ring really freaked me out.
Yeah.
Truly.
Same.
I think it
Really
freaked out
freaked me out.
everyone watched it.
Yeah.
It was so different for its time.
Yeah, high
Horrifying.
Yeah.
watershed moment talaga in The Ring. Like parang, holy crap.
It could be like this pala. Like horror can be this visceral
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
It was a
relatable.
game changer. It was really
Yeah.
it was a game changer.
Like I can be afraid of a Betamax tape.
Yes.
Ganon. And
And
static.
and weird imagery.
Yeah.
And weird
Yeah.
guns. Yeah, like what? Like remember when you saw the final footage of actual? Like what the hell is going on? Like,
Yeah.
Kinikilabutan ako.
Yeah. And in my old house, we would have big vases na empty. Wala lang, just around the house decoration, big vases. And like, I'd be eating dinner, looking at the vase, imagining some freak me out talaga.
We're laughing now. But
We're
later
laughing
tonight.
now.
Tsaka medyo lightweight pa yung the first two movies that the guests.
surprisingly.
Were
Yeah,
surprisingly
yeah.
lightweight. We have
Yeah.
not yet
Parang
We haven't-
good intro. And then getting deeper into the genre.
taken
We
easy
haven't
on
delved
Miguel.
into the macabre. The macabre.
I'm just saying, give me enough time to watch the movie during daytime, is what I'm saying.
We've plotted out, I think, about 8 or 9 guests, and then about 7 or 8 of them have chosen already.
So you know it already?
So I know a bunch, and it's a really good lineup of films. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the how amazing the list of
People we
the
got.
guests that are
We got
going to come up.
them.
Go.
It's Q Maui.
Maui's
Yeah.
like, that will never
We
happen.
got them.
Fine. Pew, pew, pew. That's chipmunk laugh.
We
Parang we
want
need
the
that-
real thing, Maui.
parang we
don't
need that
want
light
you
moment.
to say it.
You mean like actual objects making sounds in my
Yeah, we want you like actually pushing it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Say I'll cue the creepy sound in a bit.
No.
Cool. Yeah, so we have an incredible, and I'm not using that word I'm not exaggerating when I'm using that word incredible. We have an incredible lineup of guests and incredible lineup of movies too that I think you're going to like, Miguel.
All right.
All thanks to you, Chris. You're the one who's been calling people left and right.
Wrangling these, these notable
I'm
people.
chilling, eating my sushi bake.
I have yet to start editing the first two. Although,
We have time.
Wala pang video. Wala pa tayong
I have
video
faith
version.
in you.
So I lost my job right before the pandemic, right?
Oh, wait, labas ko lang yung beer.
No, this is
Yeah.
So I lost my job right before the pandemic. So for about 3 months, I was on LinkedIn. I was applying to every freaking company that I could, right? I literally applied to about 40 companies. And I only got about, I'd say 8 replies. And then I interviewed for about 4 of them. I have a fantastic job right now. But anyway, the point of that story is that's how I approached getting these guests.
Oh, galing.
I just messaged so many people.
Kaya pala.
Well,
I
on
was just
Facebook or Twitter or what? How do you
everywhere,
Everywhere.
through people who know people.
Yeah.
On Instagram, through Facebook. I just approach it that way. Like just shoot for the stars and see what comes out. So
Oh my God.
I appreciate this
thankfully.
effort, Chris.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This is a lesson also for life.
Yes.
also for life, yeah.
Ginanahan ako to do something with my life. Bigla.
Yeah. Bumili na ako ng kettlebell para mas kaya paano gumalaw ako.
Well, actually, one of the things that I'm so happy about this podcast is it's given me something to do in this goddamn pandemic. 'Cause
Driving us crazy.
That is so true.
Yeah, it is. So it's given me like the small sense of normalcy, doing something, keeping busy,
Yeah.
creative outlet, whatever. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we get sponsors, we're gonna get so rich. We're gonna,
Super.
so rich.
Because
I'll
so
buy
many
my own
people have
island.
gotten rich out of podcasts.
Podcast.
Yeah.
I'll buy my own island.
remember, guys, this is a pioneering podcast because no one
one
has
has done.
ever.
In fact,
done-
we invented the word podcast.
Yes.
We did.
Absolutely.
From pod and broadcast, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What does pod stand for, by the way? Like,
No, because we're all in our houses, in our own
little pods.
You could call them
So
pods.
it's a pod.
Wait, let me research that. Podcast etymology.
What is the etymology? For people who invented the art form, we're kind of...
Podcast.
Oh, you're wrong. It's from iPod broadcast.
Oh no shit!
Yeah.
Because you can
Wow.
listen to it. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the term was first suggested by the Guardian columnist blah 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 Ben Hammersley, who invented
Mind
it in
blown.
2004. So it's
Solid.
iPod.
Mind blown.
Cool. All right.
So all of us have things that we enjoy about horror films. What are some things that we actually hate about horror films? Things we don't like. I personally don't like jump scares. I'm not a fan of, and this is weird. I'm not a fan of, in general, aliens and spaceships.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just as a genre. I know.
What?
It's sad. I know.
In general?
In general. Like
No, I
people have
mean-
been trying. What?
I shouldn't be judgy because this whole horror thing isn't also my thing. But
Yeah.
wow. I love
it's just-
spaceships and like, space stuff.
I know. And
Yeah.
technically, I like, video games and things like that. But when it
Mm.
comes to aliens and spaceships, I find that it's so unrelatable to me that I just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. So even like Prometheus and
Ah.
that's horror, diba? Mga like that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mga
Yep.
creatures.
Not very good horror, but whatever.
Wow. Whoa.
Creatures. Creatures don't scare me. But
Sure. I
former
totally get that.
humans, yeah. Former humans, that scares me.
So body horror, not so.
What's body horror?
Those
Body
that you
snatchers, ganon.
Hindi.
I really like that. I don't know why. I really liked body snatchers, but that was major creature.
Body horror, like body modification, like mutilate, like faces being
Saw?
mangled. Yes, is that body horror? Oh,
Like
Yeah,
Hostel?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Hostel?
definitely.
Hostel.
Yeah, definitely.
Parang-
Well, that's technically torture porn, but it involves a lot of body
Baka ayoko
horror.
ng torture porn.
Yeah, same.
I am
I'm not a
not-
fan.
Parang yung
not-
medyo
not a fan.
sadist na.
So gore.
Yeah.
Parang,
None
I
of
do
you
not-
like gore.
some
I
gore
don't-
is okay naman eh. But yung medyo, when you add the suffix porn to it na like torture porn or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
When
like
it looks too real, I really freak out. Like, so there was one movie, I forgot what movie this was, the one with Paris Hilton, House of Wax.
House of Wax.
House of Wax.
House of
yeah.
Wax,
House of
okay.
Wax.
There was a part where Paris Hilton's finger got cut off, and I really freaked out. Stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
Basta
I don't
parang they don't make me feel good afterwards. kasi some horror films kind of uplifting pa eh, or cathartic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
Or-
know exactly what you're saying.
Or even the world of it, even if it's like dark. Like The Witch was kind of cool for me. Like the
The Witch
2015.
Wikipedia page was kind of cool.
No, I eventually watched it, and I watched it again. It's good. I don't know.
Oh, you'll love it, Aaron.
There's a bit of world building or world revelation. That's kind of cool. Pero yung mga tagang straight up just sad, like parang ayoko yata to. Masyadong
Yeah,
mabigat.
like the ones that the endings are just so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
It's so heavy. I mean, I know what you mean. Like there's some masterpieces na ganyan, like Hereditary, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
some movies talaga are just like, why did I watch that? 'Cause, like, my life isn't better now after seeing that. You know what I mean?
Human Centipede was like that for me. I
didn't see
did
that.
watch it. I
didn't
did
see
watch it. I watched for the novelty of it because I was just like, this is the most fucked up idea I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I gotta see it.
Yeah.
And I see it. Oh, it's the most fucked up thing ever. I don't wanna. I wanna unsee it now.
It's
So
hard.
wild.
I'm having a hard time actually describing like what's an ending that's kind of uplifting even if it's sad, and what's like an ending like The Mist.
I think
I super love
the
The
Witch
Mist.
is perfect.
The Witch is perfect, but something like The Mist, which has an ending that's kind of oh shit.
Yeah,
I have
that's
a
a-
confession
that's
about The
fucked up,
Mist.
What?
Right.
I walked out.
Oh shit! Really?
There was a lot of I didn't see the ending. And my friends who stayed said, if you watched the ending, you would have liked it.
Yeah.
But I walked out like with all the Jesus. There was a preachy part, diba, na parang it just got haywire.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I won't.
Yeah.
But if I had finished
catharsis
it,
kasi. Like you didn't, wala kang release from the movie.
I guess I just parang I didn't enjoy the whole that journey, that part of the journey that I was just like, I don't want to be.
For me, a good example of like release, even though the ending is sad, is the post that you did just now, the Others versus Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Like the Others, the ending is so depressing. But
Yes.
so meron kang ano eh, meron kang you have
My
this,
release.
you have this release that there's the reveal that they're, and then
Yeah,
I can't-
they had
And it's the kind of
acceptance.
ending na kahit sad, you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the
So-
characters
Sixth
end with
Sense,
resolve. Same.
Yeah.
I honestly really like the first Saw movie because it was so inventive. It's a mystery up till the very end, but every movie after that, the first movie is just like, I mean, I don't find joy in watching people get murdered in such vicious ways. You know, I mean, it's not.
I also find it sayang when there's a movie na it's so good for the first few minutes and then the ending's just like, ay, maraming horror na ganyan. Yung, wow, this is so good. Ay.
Give us a sample right now.
Yeah.
Okay, did you ever see, I think it's called Mother or Mama or something like that. It's
Hindi ba ni
so...
Mama.
Mama. Okay. So scary for the first few. Like you're freaking out. And then at the end, when they show the monster, you're like, ay, that's the monster. And then the ending was she went to heaven or something like that. I was just like,
Wasn't this produced by Guillermo del Toro pa?
Produced by
yes.
Because it
Super
started
That's
out
why
as
I
a
wanted
film.
to see it. Yeah.
So-
Well, it should have stayed that way, I think. Well, we are going to be interviewing some very big names for this podcast, directors and actors. And it's going to be very exciting because they're galing.
She's not wrong.
They're galing. And I want
you know,
to hear
the-
their opinion.
And the selection of movies that we have so far is so diverse. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I knew. Do we know?
Yeah,
I can tell you later.
Chris knows.
Yeah, Chris knows.
No, but I'm also
Chris knows
interested because
everything.
some of them aren't film people. Some of them are in other fields, other creative
Yes.
fields. So that's very interesting to me. Like obviously from a fan point of view, yon, interesting then to see the director's point of view because they're from a craft perspective. So I'm really
Right.
looking for. And then we had one who's a writer.
Yep.
So
Yes.
siya naman from a literary point of view, very interesting.
Yes.
And her film choice was very interesting. I was very surprised. Yeah,
It would be interesting
So-
going forward to know where everyone's horror heart lies.
I know.
Yeah, so that's it. We're having a lot of fun so far, and I hope you guys will have a lot of fun listening to it.
Be sure to watch the
There you go.
the first actual episode of Dead Air.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah. Sing yourselves out.
Coming
Chris.
dead.
This is Chris Costello. Ganon. Chris
Ah.
Costello. This is Miguel Lachanceno. This is
Sing
yourself.
Dead,
Should we do
dead.
Should we do blending?
This is where you fade out now. Fade to black.
wala na manonood after this.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.